The outpost is just the first part of our restoration efforts. The supply should contain a couple of things that you're going to need for your next job. Planting new saplings. Take the bag of spruce saplings and the shovel, and let me mark a spot for you on your map. It's a tough road ahead for this part of the reserve. The fire burnt away a huge chunk of the forest, but with any luck, a program of replanting will gradually bring life back. I hope to see it happen in my lifetime. I was in Yukon Forest during the night of the fire. We predicted a few spots as potential fire sites, and we're doing our best to prepare. But there were too few of us, and too much ground to cover. I sent most of the team away when the storm rolled over us. It was getting too dangerous. You're in the right spot. I haven't been out to that corner of the reserve for quite a while now. 3 saplings should be enough for now. Can you see the shell of the old tree? It was the first casualty when it was struck by lightning and went up in flames. We lost more than trees that night. It took less than 5 minutes for the blaze to take hold and travel towards us. Our rookie trooper, Omid Basri, was the only one not accounted for. Basri! Where are you? When I found his radio, a part of me knew straight away that we'd lost him. I wanted to go further in and look for him, but the fire was impenetrable. The wall of heat was advancing and I couldn't stay there. I just made it out before the fire consumed where I'd been standing seconds before. We went back as soon as the fires had died down and started looking. We found him, but it was as we'd feared. The outpost here is dedicated to him. We all take a special interest in overseeing the restoration of the area where we lost him. Naturally, it was a tough time for the whole team, but it brought us closer together. We supported each other and Basri's family. You do what you can, right? We devoted ourselves to our work, and we work to ensure it never happens again. Today's undertaking to replace lost trees is another step in revitalizing Yukon Forest. On my last flyby, I definitely saw some movement down there. Can you scout around for tracks in the burnt forest? I'm keen to see what animals are returning to the region. Reindeer, or caribou as they're known in North America, have a long history as the backbone of Native Alaskan society. The Gwich'in tribe have always harvested caribou to provide food, tools, and clothing. The herds are a fraction of their former size nowadays. Not many non-natives get to hunt them. Finding tracks out there is a good sign. There might not be a lot of cover or food yet, but at least some animals are starting to come back. I don't have any more work for you out in Yukon Forest, but I've just received a message from a research team that could probably use a little assistance. Let me speak with them, and I'll be in touch with you shortly. I have a new job for you. One of Yukon Valley's research teams have asked if we can help them to fix a piece of the equipment they're using to track animals around the reserve. There is a box of parts that you'll need to pick up, sitting in one of our outposts. I'll mark it on your map. Normally, I'd tell them we're too busy for this, but they need to wrap up their research before winter settles on the reserve. It'll be a much easier job if we help them out, and I'd like to keep working with them next year. I'll call you when you're getting close to the outpost. At any one time, Yukon Valley is hosting at least 5 different scientific studies. A lot of them are a simple case of setting up some recording equipment and leaving it to record data. But some involve a more hands-on approach. Parts are being stored in that outpost. They should be good to go. I wish I could do more to help with the studies. I don't get to use my biological science degree as much as I'd like, but it helps me when it comes to working with research teams and their ilk. That's what we're looking for. Next step is using those parts to fix a radio relay that is being used to track animals. The relay is part of a lookout tower. According to the researchers, it should be an easy fix. I'm hoping that tech trials like this tracking system will help Yukon Valley stand out as a hub of scientific research here in Alaska. Speaking of research, I have your samples on board now. With any luck, I'll have them handed over for testing before the end of the day. You're close to the tower. Find the relay's control panel and open it up. Your replacement parts should slot right in. I guess now we'll find out just how much of an easy fix it is. You did it? It's working? Fantastic. I will check in with the researchers to let them know it's fixed. They probably noticed that their equipment's range has just risen dramatically. I just called the research team and they've confirmed that the relay is working now. They've asked if you could take a look at one of their trackers that has been dormant for the last 13 hours or so. They weren't sure if the lack of movement had been due to poor signal, but now they're certain that something's happened. I'll forward the details. Looks like wolves got it, but something scared them off before they could really finish their meal. Grab the collar and you're good to go. Okay, I think we're done here. Let's move on before anything comes sniffing around. The researchers have been using Copper Bowl Lake Outpost as their base camp, and you can drop the collar off there. Don't expect company, though. The research team are always out and about. I knew I could count on you to get the job done. You're becoming my ambassador out here, and I gotta say, your work so far has impressed me. At this rate, I'll actually be able to do some paperwork today. Seems a little strange to be excited about that, I guess. Hopefully, I'll manage to spend some time with my wife this month. Now that I remember, I gave your number to Oscar, the researcher in charge of this particular population study. He and I work well enough together, but you'll be better placed to help him out. You might have already heard from him about work he needs help with. He injured his knee in the summer, so he's a little behind schedule. During my last flyby, I noticed that there were people walking around inside of the Millerwood Mine Complex. The entire complex is closed to the public, but that hasn't stopped some people from trying to explore the buildings. I'd like you to head over there, make sure that the place is still secure. The mine's buildings have been sealed since the mine closed in the 30s. We occasionally get curious tourists, but once they see the no trespassing signs, they tend to take their pictures and move on without getting too close.